Today, we're doing a forensic deep dive into one of the biggest corporate takedowns in modern history. We're going to look at how a tiny digital upstart managed to completely dismantle a global empire. Let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. The year is 2000. You're in a boardroom in Dallas. On one side of the table, you have the top brass from Blockbuster, a $5 billion behemoth. And on the other side, the founders of this tiny, struggling DVD-by-mail startup called Netflix. And they're about to make the pitch of a lifetime. So the pitch was pretty simple. Hey, buy us for $50 million. We'll build and run your online business for you. And the response from Blockbuster? Apparently, their CEO could barely keep a straight face. They didn't just say no. They pretty much laughed the Netflix guys right out of the building. And that right there is the million-dollar question. Or I guess the $5 billion question. How does a company that big, that dominant, miss something so obvious? Was it just pure arrogance? A failure of imagination? Or was there a fatal flaw? Something baked right into their DNA that made them blind? Let's break it down. So to really get why Blockbuster failed so spectacularly, you first have to understand just how huge they were. Back in the late 90s, they weren't just a company. They were the weekend plan. They were the undisputed kings of home entertainment. I mean, at their absolute peak, Blockbuster had more than 9,000 stores all over the world. Woo! They were opening a new one every 17 hours. They were literally everywhere you looked. But all that success was hiding a really, really big problem, a deep-seated addiction. And here's the crazy part. The very thing that made them a titan, all those thousands of physical stores, that was also their greatest weakness. And it all came down to how they were making a huge chunk of their money. This number, this is what sealed their fate. In the year 2000 alone, Blockbuster pulled in $800 million from just one thing, late fees. Think about that. Their business model was literally built on profiting from their customers' inconvenience. And this chart just lays it bare. 16% of all their revenue came from a feature that every single customer hated. They were financially addicted to it. And when you're that hooked on something, it makes it pretty hard to see a better way forward. Okay, so while Blockbuster was busy penalizing its customers, the challenger, Netflix, was writing a whole new playbook. Theirs was a blueprint built from scratch, all about technology and, most importantly, convenience. I mean, the difference is just night and day, right? We all remember the Blockbuster routine: drive to the store, hope they have the movie you want, and then stress about returning it on time. Netflix just got rid of all of that. No due dates, no late fees, just one subscription. They realized they weren't just renting movies. They were selling convenience. And here was their secret weapon. It wasn't just about the red envelopes. Nope. The real genius was the data. Their algorithm, Cinematch, got freakishly good at predicting what you'd want to watch next. This created this unstoppable cycle, a growth flywheel. Better recommendations meant you stayed a happy subscriber, which gave them more money to improve the service, which in turn attracted even more people. It just kept spinning faster and faster. So you'd think the $5 billion giant would wake up and fight back, right? Well, they weren't totally asleep at the wheel. They saw Netflix was growing, and they tried. But their attempts were clumsy, they were expensive, and honestly, they were paralyzed by their own success. Their big countermove was a program called Total Access. And on paper, it sounds pretty brilliant. Get your DVDs in the mail, then return them to a physical store for a free rental right then and there. The problem? It was a financial disaster. They were losing $2 on every single one of those exchanges. The program got so popular, it was bleeding them dry until they had to raise the price, which killed all of their momentum. But this wasn't just a strategic mistake. It was a total failure of leadership. The CEO who launched Total Access got forced out by an activist investor. And his replacement, Jim Keyes, he doubled down on the retail stores, convinced that was the future, just as the rest of the world was sprinting online. It was complete denial. So while Blockbuster was busy fighting internal battles and trying to save its physical stores, the real knockout punch was already on its way. The final technological shift was happening. And this is what turned a slow decline into an absolute nosedive. And look how fast it all unraveled. 2007, Netflix launches streaming. That same year, the Blockbuster CEO, who actually understood digital, gets the boot. Then the 2008 financial crisis hits, making their billion-dollar debt an impossible burden. And by 2010, that's it. It's over. They file for bankruptcy. Now, what I find really incredible is this data from 2010. Even in the year they went bankrupt, Blockbuster still had higher revenue than Netflix.
What?
But that number is so misleading. Look closer. Netflix was profitable. And the churn rate, that tells the real story. Blockbuster was a leaky bucket, losing 2 out of every 3 of its online subscribers. The entire foundation of the business was just rotten. And this is what's left of that entire empire. From over 9,000 stores worldwide, just one. A single Blockbuster remains on planet Earth. It's now a tourist attraction in Bend, Oregon, a relic of a fallen titan. You see, Blockbuster's collapse isn't just some business school case study. It's a timeless warning. And it leaves us with a really critical question for any company, then and now. Is your success built on serving your customers or on penalizing them? Because as Blockbuster learned the hard way, sooner or later, a competitor is going to come along and build a better blueprint, one designed to profit from customer delight, not their frustration.